Hello AP Biology students, let's go over the sixth section in Unit 8. And in this section, we're going to talk about something called community ecology. This is basically looking at the interactions between different species in a community. There are going to be a lot of different ways that organisms are going to interact in an ecosystem. Sometimes those interactions are going to be positive, negative, or not really have an effect on a species. These interactions are typically called symbiotic interactions, and these are just ways that two or more organisms are going to interact with each other. Our first type of interaction is going to be known as predation, and just like the name implies, this is where one organism kills and consumes another. You can see there are a couple different types of this predation where we have like a carnivore, you have cannibalism, herbivory, you even have parasitism or even mutualism. But again, this is where one organism is going to benefit because they are getting nutrients in some way by eating another organism, which is obviously going to be negatively affected. Another type of interaction is going to be known as competition. This is where both species or both organisms are going to be negatively affected. This is basically where organisms are going to compete for an advantage and try to almost like eliminate the other. This is because there are limited resources in ecosystems, so not all organisms or all species are going to get enough of those resources. And there are two different types of these competitions where you can see organisms of the same species competing with each other and organisms from different species competing with each other. Parasitism, mutualism, and commensalism are three more types of symbiotic relationships. Parasitism is a positive-negative interaction where a parasite is going to take nourishment from the host. You can see over here our parasite, which is the green little guy kind of eating the bigger red one, is taking nourishment in some way. Mutualism is a plus-plus or positive-positive interaction. This is where both species are going to benefit from the interaction. You can see here, like this organism and this organism are both benefiting because this organism gets like a perch to sit on and they can see further for like predators, while this organism is kind of gaining that benefit from seeing further than they can usually see. And lastly, we have commensalism, which is plus and then a zero, which means there's no effect. This is where one species benefits, but the other really isn't affected. You can see in our commensalism where the plus creature here, the green little person here, is getting some shade, but the other organism really isn't benefiting or being negatively affected at all. A couple more types of interactions that we see in communities are from like a keystone species. This is where a species exerts a major control over all the other species in a community. They're typically not abundant in a community, but again, each ecosystem is a little bit different, so these keystone species can have a lot of variation. But like in our example, you can see our sea otter eating the sea urchins, keeping their population low. If we take out the sea otter, you can see the sea urchin population drastically increases, killing the kelp in that ecosystem, which again, drastically changes that ecosystem. Without the keystone species being the otter, the ecosystem is majorly affected. And lastly, I'm going to just talk about invasive species. We typically know about these because they're becoming more and more of a problem in our ecosystems. But basically, there are non-native species that drastically alter the food web or the food chains in an ecosystem. There has been a huge increase in invasive species because of how much humans are traveling and just relocating organisms to new habitats. But again, these invasive species are a huge problem in a lot of our ecosystems, and it's again because of usually human interactions.